Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's latest podcast. My name is Craig. I am presiding along the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today is March 4th, 2014. And today I'm going to try to crunch in a few topics. Very interesting, mainly to privacy-related, spying, government schools, and other input related to tyranny. So, the first thing I'm going to be addressing, or narrating to be exact, is from truthout.org. And it's entitled, New Cases of Corporate Spying Bolster, Troubling Trend. What is being done about it? And it was done today, around under 2 hours, by Candace Bernard. Yeah, Candace Bernard. Candace Bernard. It's a good, interesting report. So, let's begin. In the past few weeks, an alarming number of national and international cases of corporate spying have emerged, revealing a clear pattern of abuse with no clear end in sight. The trend has grown in tandem with damning revelations about governmental surveillance capabilities and practices by the English-speaking Five Eyes Alliance, revealed by the former National Security Agency contractor and whistleblower Edward Snowden. But cases of corporate espionage are tricky in many ways to pin down and often overlap with governmental spying, since private intelligence firms contract with government agencies. There has been dramatic increase in the supply of espionage capacity and the specification of it. And so what that means, that it's much easier to hire espionage capacity, whether it's human or technological, and the capacity is much more effective and intrusive than it was 10 or 15 years ago. So that's one thing that's happening, says Gary Ruskin, director at the Center Corporate Policy. Ruskin authored a detailed report called Spooky Business for the Center, which is one of the first to comprehensively document a number of cases of corporate espionage operations against nonprofit groups and activists. The other thing that's happening is that the corporations are increasingly concerned about the potential impact of activists, nonprofit organizations, and truth tellers. Number one, on their bottom lines, but number two, and perhaps more importantly, are their most important asset, which is typically their brand reputation, he said. In this report, Ruskin documented in detail a 2011 joint surveillance operation conducted in secret by three private firms, HB Gary Federal, Planeteer Technologies, and Barrico Technologies, against the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's nonprofit critics. The three firms call themselves Team Themis and work together to gather information on organizations such as the Center for American Progress, Move On, Move to Amend, U.S. Chamber Watch, the Brad Blog, New Brave Films, and Ruskin Society, among others. The firms propose hiring former intelligence veterans and using extreme and potentially illegal tactics such as creating false documents and false personas to discredit activists who may engage with them. The tactics are wearingly similar to the dirty trick tactics currently being employed by government communication headquarters Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group Unit to discredit online hacktivists, revealed by Glenn Greenwald at The Intercept last week. By a new rash of reports documenting corporate espionage cases has steadily trickled out of the media in 2014, expanding the known cases of private organizations gathering information on a dissenter and using it to publicly shame them or permanently damage their reputations with no accountability. The International Human Rights Organization in South America recently discovered their meetings were being infiltrated by Vail and Belo Monte companies, according to Latin America Press. Organizers with Zingu Alive Forever movement in Pará determined that a new member who called himself Antonio was recording a meeting attended by groups like Amazon Watch, Global Justice, and Brazil's Social Environmental Institute. The groups are working to pressure the Belo Monte Construction Consortium, CCBM, to obey the law and respect human rights of the communities affected by Belo Monte Dam. Antonio told organizers that CCBM hired him to spy on their movement. He passed along photos and inside intelligence about the group's members and meetings with CCBM employees. And more has come out this month in files published by WikiLeaks that the Austin-based private intelligence firm Stratifor in 2010 was paid more than $13,000 a month by the American Petroleum Institute, API, to gather information about environmental activists, organizations, and campaigns around energy and climate change. The firms tracked, including the National Resource Defense Council, NRDC, Greenpeace, the Center for Biological Diversity, Oil Change International, 350.org, the Center for American Progress, Clean Energy's Work, the Sierra Club, Forest Ethics, the Union Concerned Scientists, and ProPublica on the behalf of API. And in a case with roots in both US and the UK, the FBI will be asked to investigate 8 American companies that allegedly hired UK-based private investigators and illegally gathered information about the public in the so-called blue chip hacking scandal. The scandal erupted after it was discovered that the several US companies use rogue private investigators who help the companies fuel unlawful trade in personal data. The British Information Commissioner announced he plans to contact US authorities. But in one of the most compelling stories of the month, the New Yorker revealed that Syngenta, the company that manufactures their herbicide atrazine, relentlessly followed Berkeley scientist Tyrone Hayes, whose experiments have repeatedly shown that atrazine causes birth defects in frogs. The company used its vast public relations apparatus to plot ways to discredit Hayes' work and reputation. Syngenta's public relations team even proposed investigating Hayes' wife and purchasing Tyrone Hayes as a phrase on search engines so that when someone searches for Hayes' studies, the first thing they'll see is a Syngenta public relations material. The company also prevented Hayes from acquiring a job at Duke University in North Carolina, where Syngenta's crop protection headquarters is located. Syngenta sent representatives to his public speeches to poke holes in his methods. Hayes is still seeking justice. However, no action has been taken against the company. The manufacturer should be held accountable for how they manipulated the EPA, for how they manipulated the legislator, and how they manipulated scientists. Hayes told Truth Out. They are essentially made it very difficult for me to get funding and continue the research. He also thinks the EPA should be held accountable for knowingly allowing Syngenta employees to influence their panel decisions approving the use of atrazine. The EPA directly collaborated with the manufacturer while the testing was being done, he said. Foreign governments are also purchasing commercial spyware for companies like the Hacking Team and others whose products are capable of stealing documents from hard drives, snooping video chats, reading emails, snatching contact lists, and remotely flipping on cameras and microphones so they can quietly spy on a computer's unwitting user, according to a report in the Washington Post. The targets of the spyware have been U.S. citizens and journalists. It's quite hard to talk about these things when we really know about these items. This one little news clip, Ruskin said, corporations engage in espionage of nonprofits and activists and other truth tellers and scientists with near impunity can suffer nothing more than a minor adversity in the coverage of their espionage being exposed. Is that all? While the FBI clearly makes investigating whether foreign governments are spying on corporations to obtain trade secrets a priority, it is not entirely clear whether the agency is doing much to hold corporations who spy on nonprofits and the public accountable. FBI spokesman Jonathan Zeitlin told Truth Out that many corporate spying cases sound more like torturous conduct, not federal criminal conduct, and did not disclose whether the agency was looking into any kinds of cases in which private organizations and corporations spied on advocacy groups and activists. But a secretive partnership between the FBI and the private sector called InfraGard, designed to share intelligence, is or could become another avenue through which unethical or potentially illegal espionage against advocacy groups is conducted, according to Ruskin's report. In any case, it is clear the FBI patrioticizes cases in which corporations are spied on rather than cases of corporations unethically spying. Hey, this is a good. Hey, Candace, good job. I like it. And like I said, even though it's interesting about this report, what she did, cyber wars, the war on terror is after everybody. Because even too, look what the IRS is doing to the Tea Party. All right, same thing, different package. Everyone's getting spied on. Anyone that questions government, corporations, or the fascistic agenda are the bad guys in their minds, allegedly. But the whole thing I can say is the cyber war is going to get a lot more bigger. And watch out for the libelists on each and every one of you, regardless of what side of the paradigm you're on. Because I always tell everyone, the war on terror is a conflagration with ourselves. And this has been going on for a long time, my friends. And hey, all I gotta say, put the feet to the fire. As long as you put out the truth, it will set you free. You may be hitting bumpy roads along the way or get a black eye, but keep on going. Keep on pursuing. Don't give up. And I'd like to thank Candace Byrne for this article, and it was an honor for me to read it. So I will put this on my Spreaker page also. All right, next one, very similar to spying. It was written on the Personal Liberty Digest from personalliberty.com. Same day, March 4th. It was written by Sam Raleigh. And this is entitled, Florida Cops Track Cell Phones Without Warrants 200 Times on Manufacturer Request. Okay, here we go. In what is likely not an isolated incident, investigators at Florida Police Department used powerful cell phone tracking technology on at least 200 occasions without ever notifying judges or seeking warrants for the intrusive surveillance. The department claimed it was unable to obtain a warrant for cell phone tracking because it required the tracking technology on loan from a manufacturer and signed a non-disclosure agreement. Oh, the world should revolve around them. I have a badge. I need special treatment. Oh, well, tough crap for you, scumbag. The American Civil Liberties Union uncovered the warrantless cell phone tracking during an appeal in a 2008 sexual battery case in Tallahassee that involved in a stolen cell phone. During the proceedings, authorities explained how investigators were able to track the defendant who had stolen his victim's cell phone by tricking the device into sending location data with the help of tracking technology. Then they knocked on the door, asked permission to enter, and when the suspect's girlfriends refused, forced their way inside a conducted search and arrested the suspect in his home. Police opt not to get warrants authorizing either their use or stingray or the department search. ACLU explained, one of the most shocking aspects of the case, however, is the police interpreted the non-disclosure agreement signed with the private company for a stingray device as permission to bypass judicial oversight. The police seem to have interpreted the agreement to bar them even from revealing their use of stingrays to